Hey there, everybody. Took a vote on the community tab to see if anybody wanted to do a live stream tonight. I'm not going to be on here real long. I'm still fighting this cold. I ran it till we got to 15 votes, and it won out 53 to 47. So it was a narrow victory for the sure. Let's do it. How are you doing, Chris? Chris, G4 Outdoors. It's alive. J80, how are you doing? Demon, how are you? Yeah, cold sucks. I got hit with the flu last week. It hit me last Tuesday, and I am still not over it. Luckily, it's been the flu that's been here up. John 69, how are you doing? So that's why Barry Hansen, how are you doing, Barry? Numbers Matta, what's up? Chris Conkle, flu is worse. Yeah, it's been a bad one. That's why I haven't had anything uploaded. Haven't done any editing. Mike Manfred, how are you doing? Andy B. Yeah, I am back. I'm not 100%, but I'm back. I'm trying to think of what I got coming up for footage. We haven't. John 69, thanks for that. Just call me number, please. Will do. We'll call you number. We haven't been terribly busy with crane work. Been working on stuff in the shop, repainting counterweights, touching up stuff on the cranes, getting everything ready for the busy season that's going to come up. Our weather has been terrible, so let's see. Let's get caught up on some comments. Brandon, how are you doing? Josh T, hello. Thanks for that, Chris. Says, hope you feel better soon. Larry Ford, hi, Jimmy from Swamp East, Missouri. Must be down in the boot heel somewhere. John 69, what's going on with Thor's hammer? I knew that was going to be asked. I haven't gotten much done on that this week either. But I do have some pictures. I'll hold them up here to the camera. Show you guys a little bit of what I've been doing. And I've got a bunch of footage while I've been working on it, just to stitch together a video at some point. Let's see. We'll just scroll through some of these. Come on, phone. So you guys will be getting a sneak peek here. It says, are those crane models replicas of your cranes? Scruffy61, how are you doing? The one on the closest to the wall is a almost replica of the one that I operate. It's a Tadano 160G. The one I operate is a Tadano 180G. And then the one that's closest to me or closest to this box is a diecast GR1000. So it's an RT. We don't have any of those. But let's see if we can get the camera to focus in. This is 6 pieces of plate stacked up. Come on, no glare. That forms the bottom 6 plates of the hammer. MSL Login, how are you doing? This is kind of how I've put it together on the inside. So each successive plate, I'm cutting an oval in it and welding it to the plate below it. Actually, I was having trouble getting my welder set up, so I had to take a picture and send it to a buddy of mine in Colorado. Mills, how are you doing? I'm still under the weather. I'm getting there. But I had some, I don't know if you'll be able to see it in here, but I had some undercut. And so I sent that picture to a buddy of mine in Colorado, and he's like, hey, that's what you need to do to get your welder tuned in. So that's what I did. Here's some more pictures of the bottom 6 plates. I'm hoping these are coming through okay. Here's the hole that the camera in the bottom will be embedded in. Josh Wellner, how are you doing? Dickard with Dave, how are you doing, Dickard with Dave? Put a plug on Instagram for Benchmark Abrasives. So that was a picture I took for them. They were actually pretty good to me on getting stuff going on that as far as stuff for polishing. They gave me a little bit of a discount for giving them a good plug. Now, here's some better pictures. This is on the opposite side. Come on, phone. So you can see they're stacked up to form the miter. Because I'm mitering all the corners. Let's see, let me get to this other picture. Okay, here's a picture of the 4-inch square recess that's going to have the 1-inch thick piece of acrylic to protect the camera that's in the bottom of the hammer. I'm going to zoom in on this one a little bit and see. Well, hang on. I'll get back to that one. That right there is a buttload of welding. And there you can see I got the 2 sides polished off and working on the 2 ends. So far that piece is about 300 pounds. So there's your sneak peeks on the hammer. Katie Wilson, how are you doing, Katie Wilson? So once I get past those bottom 6 plates, it should go a lot faster. Those bottom 6 plates, once I get those done, I'll be able to put it bottom down and then start building it up. So I shouldn't have to manipulate that anymore. James Bergeron, how are you doing? J80, I did get the 6010 squared away. You guys were a huge help on that live stream. 90 to 95 amps is about perfect on that 6010. However, I still didn't like how much it spattered. So instead of doing the root pass with the 6010, I've just been burning all 7018. I weld good with 7018. Well, as good as a crane operator can weld, I guess. But I weld pretty good with 7018, so that's what I've been running. I don't know if I got any better pictures. Chris Beck, how are you doing, Chris? Let me see what I got. Let me see what I got that would impress a welder such as J80. This is probably the best one. I'll zoom way in on this one. Don't be too harsh on me. But that's before I polish one of the sides off or one of the ends off. I've burned about 15 pounds of rod. And then this is one of the long sides after it was welded up like that and then polished off. Chris Beck says doing pretty good. Waking up every day is a blessing. That's a fact. Every day on this side of the dirt's a good day. Josh Wellner, all the wind up here tonight. Hope I don't lose power. Other than that, doing great. Well, that's probably making for some pretty rough water. Let's see. See if I missed anybody. Larry Ford says the very bottom of the boot hill, Hornsville. That's down there a ways. Chris Beck says pretty good welds there, Jimmy. I try. I can. Oh, J80 said that work looks great. That means a lot coming from someone that burns as much metal together as what J80 does. Tyler Kinsey, do you have any advice on running a 17-ton Manitowoc boom truck? Not bad on the 7018. What kind of advice are you looking for, Tyler? I mean, are you having particular troubles with something, or are you just getting started in operating? Are you wanting to get started in operating? Yeah, between between the old hammer and getting sick, and then I got hung up for a week waiting for plasma cutter tips to come in. Uh, I've got a fairly small plasma cutter. It's a 30 amp, and half-inch plate is its upper limit, and so that half-inch plate's pretty hard on the plasma tips, and that's even running training wheels on it, so I don't smash the tip into the piece of plate. But I've burned up several. Chris Beck says, I know it's not always easy welding, but I can say from experience that the preparation is the key. That's a fact. So, J80, while you're on here, what do you think about the fact that I'm skipping the 6010 route and just burning everything in with eighth inch 7018 at about 132 amps? And I'm obviously getting decent penetration. It's blue in the metal, or it's blue in that half-inch plate, about probably close to a half-inch from the edge. So I mean, I'd say it's getting pretty decent penetration. And I'm also those welds are, it's just stacked and staggered. I guess that would be a lap joint. So I haven't had to cut a bevel on those. But as I get to the side where everything's lined up on the sides, then I will be beveling that. And then also it's going to have that 2 3/8 cold roll steel running up the center of it. So JD says, I don't see any problems with that. And Barry Hansen says, I don't think it's a problem. That's kind of what I figured too. If I'm not mistaken, I think 7018's a little more ductile than what 6010 is. I think, isn't 6010, I mean, it's got better penetration, but doesn't it typically fracture easier? I'm probably going to butcher that last name, but Basil says, hi, Brandon. I'm looking for mobile crane training ideas, please, as a student. Well, I'm not Brandon. I'm Jimmy, but Brandon is on here somewhere. He's one of the subscribers. Mobile crane training, I'm not sure where you're at, like geographically located. I don't know if I can recommend crane training because I don't know where you're at. James Bergeron says, I seen today that Terex sold DMAG to Tadano earlier today while I was looking for something. Tadano did, in fact, actually, they bought Terex DMAG, the whole mobile crane division. So I think that's all hydros. It's not going to include, as far as I know, and I'm just shooting from the hip here, just from what I've read, I don't think it's going to include the lattice boom crawlers or anything. It's just going to be their mobile crane division. Tyler Kinsey, first job operating. I'm currently hanging steel stairs on a 4-story high rise. It's a lot tougher than I thought. Threading the needle, you make running a crane look easy. Tyler, it's slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So don't try to get in a hurry. Stand-up machines typically they have just manual controls, so you don't have any pilot controls. So just go easy on the controls. As you're getting used to it, you will pick up more speed. I appreciate the compliment as far as making it look easy. A lot of people, when they watch someone operating a crane, they think, man, that doesn't look that difficult. But it really is fairly difficult, but it's all in what you're accustomed to. So it just takes time. Let's see. D. McDonald, how are you doing, D. McDonald? I think a lot of people thought I disappeared. J80 says 7018 is stronger in tensile strength, compression strength, and shock loading. Well, shock loading is what we are going to be doing, so I would say we're headed in the right direction. Respect, if it was pipe carrying critical fluids under pressure, it'd be super, super important to have a perfect weld, but just for the strength alone, most decent welder. Yep. Tyler Kinsey, it's all manual. So, Tyler, just take your time and know the limitations of yourself and know the limitations of your machine. And that gets a lot of people in trouble, especially people that are just starting out, is they want to try to be fast and they want to try to do things as quickly as possible. But a lot of times your machine is capable of more than what the operator is. So the machine is typically faster or can be faster. Sometimes they'll pick up more than what an operator is comfortable with. So just make sure that you know your limitations as well, and just go easy. You'll get there. G4, let the dogs out today and their paws indented the mud in about 2 inches. Nasty mud. We have a photo session tomorrow. That sounds fun. It's supposed to get cold again, so that mud's going to go away, Randy. I promise. It's going to be single digits again, I think, next week. Demon asked, what's my dream crane? If money was no object, and it's not on the market yet, but if you look up the Tadano ATF 600G-8, I would have one of those. That 600G is going to be a game changer, I think. J80 says an expert makes a difficult task look deceptively easy. It's called skill mastery. It is. And it's called seat time. Just doing it. Josh Wellner said, wish a new welding talk. Something I want to learn is welding. You just got to pick it up and do it. Mike Manford, Jimmy, some of us knew you were live on Instagram. I am on Instagram, so if you guys want updates, I take some pictures and post them periodically on Instagram. D. McDonald, figure you were working away at the hammer. I haven't gotten near as far on the hammer as I would like to be, but it's getting there. It will get there. G4, my new neighbors doing the final walkthrough. Went and dropped all the bombs on them. Tyler says, thanks for the advice. I appreciate it. Tyler, if I can help with anything, feel free to reach out to me. I'll do my best. I'm one of those people. I will help anybody that is willing to learn. And I also, I take advice from people. That's what it's all about. I wish more people had the mindset that we were put here to help each other. Some people you can't help. I mean, that's just the way it is. But ultimately, we were put here to help each other. Mike Manford said 600 ton, and it's a 600 metric ton, so it's a 660 US ton. JD said, did you consider not cutting the oval? It takes a lot of metal out that don't get replaced. I suggest many holes the size of a nickel and plug the hole full. I thought about that, but with all the tools that I own, I don't own a drill press, believe it or not. Probably one of the most basic tools in most everybody's shop is a drill press, and I don't have one. So I cut the ovals because that 1/2-inch plate, I'm having to pilot drill it for my plasma because I can't just plunge cut it with my plasma cutter. It's not quite stout enough. And rather than drill a whole bunch of holes with a hand drill through a 1/2-inch plate, I just drilled one hole on each side, cut an oval, welded it in. But I'm not going to do that on all the plates clear up. I'm only doing that on the bottom 6 plates. So the only reason why I'm doing that on the bottom 6 plates is they're not going to have the 2 3/8 cold roll running up the center of them. The only thing that would be holding them otherwise would be the perimeter welds. So, Abdel Basil. Okay, I'm just going to go with your first name. I'm assuming it's Basil. Basil. Sorry if I messed that up. Boston, Massachusetts. I'm not sure how old you are, but a good place to start would be to get into your local apprenticeship. Jason Heltzley says, good evening, Jimmy. Missed your videos lately. I figured you're working a lot or on the hammer. I've been working a lot and also been sick. Chris Beck says, yep. Chris Beck says, yep, I help people who want to help themselves every day. Dale Whitehead, Jimmy was at Altec the other day. Did you pose for one of their stickers? I don't believe so. Altec in St. Joe, because that's where one of their main factories is. And we do a lot of work out there. So if, I mean, it's possible they got a picture of me doing something out there. Tyler Mag drill's a lot easier to drill and steel. That's true. Shooters, options, targets. How are you doing? Shooters, options, targets. I am going to order a sign from you at some point. I will message you on the old Facebook when I am ready to do so. Andy B, need a torch. Big Red, how are you doing, Big Red? Jay Chris Beck. Jimmy doesn't have a drill press. Pretty sure he's wishing for a mag drill. I could probably borrow a mag drill from work. Blue Line Landworks is obviously watching, but his message was retracted. I don't know what he said. Dale Whitehead, Kansas City getting outriggers fixed. I mean, we do a lot of work at Altec, so it's possible they got a picture of me doing something. I don't know what the sticker looked like, but who knows? J80, people who don't help are stingy jerks. Those people forgot along the way that people taught them. That's a fact. G4 Outdoors, don't do it. He will rip you off. What'd I miss? Oh, Randy from G4 says, don't do it. He'll rip me off. Don't do what? Don't order a sign from Shooters Options? How are you doing, Blue Line? Oh, sorry, it wouldn't load. Sean Tatham piped in. There you go. Abdo says New England Crane Schools is good people. Plus, there's a strong operators local in Boston. That's a fact. Blue Line, when is Thor's hammer going to start? Well, Thor's hammer's got to get built first. So I'm working on it. It's getting there slowly. One thing that I did figure out, and I've probably said this before, but I'm not sure. I grossly underestimated the size of that project. When I was talking to my brother about it and we were just throwing ideas back and forth, it sounded real easy when I said, hey, I'll just weld together 1,500 pounds of plate and make a hammer. Once I got that 1,500 pounds of plate unloaded into my garage and looked at it, that's when it hit me exactly the scope of what we were getting ready to do. So it is definitely a big project. Blue Line says good. Just got done with 3 days of OLC. What's the OLC? The Oregon Logger Convention, I think, or whatever. JD, ever wish you would have brought that hammer to me? I wish I could have, but that's a long drive. Tyler Kinsey said, figure it out for my 2 cents. I'm a welder by trade, and the operator is part of my job to install it. I will always take someone's 2 cents. If someone's got some advice, I'm all for it. Mike Manford, which is hold my beer. Demon asks, what's my Instagram? It's the same as my YouTube channel name, To the Top Crane. G4, I think Junior had to cut yours 3 times, Randy. See them on your wall. I feel guilty. John 69. That's a fact. Yeah, that's a lot of welding. Hammer, I just use bricks and rocks like that. Teacher Haggis, greetings again from New Zealand. I used to be a crane operator, and I'm not now. I miss it. Your channel helps me scratch the itch. Thank you very much for your great work. Hey, thanks for watching. And I've said it before, if it weren't for all you guys, this channel wouldn't be near what it is. I mean, you guys, I want this to be your guys' channel, and I want everybody to be able to play a part in it. So, I've said it in many other live streams. If there's something you guys want to see, I'll try to get a video of it. But it's got to be something I can incorporate into our day-to-day work. I can't just go set the 200-ton crane up to show people how to do it. It's got to be something I can incorporate. Jason Helsley says, sounds like you need to hit the Sudafed, NyQuil, and DayQuil, Jimmy. That combination will knock your head cold out in about 3 days. What I need to hit's the Jim Beam, but I got to work tomorrow, so no Jim Beam on work night. Oh, Apple software update. Get off my computer screen. Why do I even get Apple software updates? I don't even have an Apple computer. I must have a program that has something to do with Apple in it. Wayne Tharp, how are you doing? Says, hey, Jim, we've both been working on airboxes this past week trying to finally shake our cold. Seems like they've been hanging around since Christmas. Yeah, it's this flu thing has kicked my butt this last week. Teacher Haggis says he'd like to see some more footage of tandem lifts if that's possible. Typically, the only time, actually, we've got a tandem pick coming up, but I'm not sure they'll let me record inside the facility. And this, I hope they do. Chris said he's got to go. See you soon. Hope you feel better. Thanks for stopping in, Chris. And you guys, if any of you guys haven't checked out Chris Conkle vlogs, go give Chris a watch. He's up in Canada. He's a carpenter. Actually, I think he's a superintendent or boss or something, but does a lot of construction vlogging. So go check out Chris Conkle vlogs. But we have a pick coming up inside of a facility, and we're putting our 100-ton and our 200-ton crane inside of a building and lifting a machine. The rub is the ceiling height's only 38 feet, and I've only got a 54-foot wide bay to get my boom swung around in. So it's going to be picks with booms fully retracted. We've got to measure everything out extremely precisely to get the boom tips where we need them to make the pick. So it's going to be one of those that's very technical, and it's very heavy, and we've got to pick this machine up 14 feet in the air inside the building. So I'm going to see if they'll let me record it. We'll see what happens. Blue Line Landworks says 110 subs till 2,000. Sweet. You're getting there, Blue Line. Shooters, it has to be 100 proof. Trying to get caught up on comments here. Mike Manfred says, when you get the hammer done, you're going to bring the Broderson home to load it. I'm probably going to load it with my engine hoist. Bill Junking Fool, how are you doing? Says, any ideas how to get a CDL trigger out of an old knuckle boom crane? I don't have a whole lot of experience with the old knuckle boom cranes, so I can't give any advice on that. Let's see. Barry Simmons, how are you doing? Says a little bit of Jack Daniels in a tall glass with a liberal amount of local non-pasteurized honey and lemon juice proportional. All. And luckily, the people that live right across the street from me are beekeepers. So I have a supply of fresh local honey. It doesn't get much more local than right across the street. Bill Junkie Fool, trying to get a seized up outrigger out of a knuckle boom crane. That would be a tough one. Torch, maybe. Demon asked me, what's the heaviest thing I've lifted? 179,000 pound gas turbine generator shaft. Blue Line Landworks has put a 6-inch hole in the bottom of the hammer for a drop cam. I'm one step ahead of you, my friend. I've got a hole in there for a GoPro that will be facing the ground. So there will be a drop cam. Andy B says, got to go, Jimmy. Hope you feel better, my friend. Thanks for stopping in, and thanks for the well wishes. Jeff Skew says, hey, Jimmy, not seen you on lately. My bell don't like working. Jeff Skews, I haven't been on lately. I've been working and sick. Tyler Kinsey says, Thermal Lance works great on seized outriggers. He speaks from experience. That's a fact. Oh, Wayne Tharp asks how long I've been married, Jimmy, and how did we all meet? Taking it to the personal level. Actually, this July will be our 20th anniversary, so 20 years. And we met through mutual friends. Daniel Therault, correct me if I messed that up, but what are your thoughts on companies using rotators to do the work of a crane? It seems that the training is very short and the rigging practices are often questionable. Daniel, that's a good question. What are my thoughts on it? I guess it depends on the knowledge of the person operating the rotator. Rigging practices, I have seen rigging practices typically are questionable when they're using a rotator, and that's generally because the limited tip height of a rotator. They don't have as much boom length as a crane. I don't know. I'm assuming you're probably referring to, like Ron Pratt picking stuff up, or Plaza Towing picking stuff up. I know Plaza just got their rotator, so they're still in the middle of their learning curve. I've been kind of offering some advice here and there, but I don't want to be that guy that says, hey, you need to do it this way, because I'm not that kind of person. They have been receptive to some advice here and there. I think rotator operators should have to undergo some crane training and rigging training. And I think at some point, OSHA will step in and probably make that happen. Let's see. Josh Wellner says, when do you think we'll see the hammer drop? I'm hoping sometime in March. That's what I'm shooting for. As soon as I get it all welded up, it's going to go to powder coat. When it gets out of powder coat, then I'm going to leather wrap the handle. And then I got to build the release for it. And then it's game on. GeForce is 20 years with the green face. Wayne Tharp says, congratulations. Didn't mean to get personal, but you are a man of the people. Thanks. I didn't mean anything by the getting personal. You guys can ask me anything. I'm pretty much an open book. I don't have a whole lot to hide from anybody, but I'm not giving you my social security number, and very few people are getting my address. Jason Heltzig said I'm ready for spring to get here. Me too. I am so tired of winter. Blue Line asked what's going to be the first victim of the hammer. I kind of want to keep that a secret, Blue Line. I can tell you it's probably going to involve electronics. D. McDonald, have I figured out the release? I have. I sketched up a drawing of what I want to build, and I looked at some releases on online, and they're really expensive, and they all have a hook that, like, if this was the bottom of the release, that all of them have a hook that go like this or drop out like that, and I don't want to use a release like that because I'm afraid that I need that hammer to drop straight down. It can't be skewed one way or the other. It's going to have to drop perfectly straight down, because once we line it up on a target, we have to cable straight up 70 feet and let it go. So it's got to come straight down. So what I've designed is a release that has two jaws that actually come down at an angle that will hold the shackle like so. And then those two jaws will be kind of hinged like bolt cutters with a sear in between them. And so the jaws will sit something like this, and imagine a little rectangular opening here and a pin and a pin. You pull the sear up and it will allow the jaws just to open like so. So that's what we're working on. William Jacobs says someone will have to get hurt before the government will step in. That's, I'm assuming, on the rotator picks. And don't get me wrong, those rotators are neat machines. They have their place. They typically excel in pulling and some lifting, but I think there's a gray area in there where I think they need to go to some rigging training and some basic crane training. Tyler Kinsey will probably smash his computer that keeps asking to update. John 69 Electronics, huh? Got to drop it on Apple headquarters. Rainbowzo Clown Explosive Bolts. How are you doing, Rainbowzo Clown? Justin McKee said, I've seen one of your guys' cranes in Hiawatha Friday. I think we did actually have a crane over there in Hiawatha Friday. It was probably our 50-ton boom truck. Oh, yes, it was in Hiawatha. They were picking up a helicopter. So they took our 50-ton boom truck over to Hiawatha, picked up a helicopter, loaded on one of our semis, and took it to Topeka. So he refused. I know he changed his name there. I'm just going to go with Golem because that's a mouthful. So they did soil compacting, dropping a 10-ton block 30 feet along footing soil line. That would definitely compact some soil. Wayne Tharp, the release will be controlled with a rope until I find a 100% fail-proof like radio-controlled release that's not super expensive. I thought about using RC gear, like RC car stuff, but that RC car stuff isn't overly fail-safe. I know the new digital 2.4 gig and 5 gig stuff is pretty fail-safe, but it's still not fail-safe enough for me to have a 1,500-pound hammer hanging 70 feet in the air. And, you know, what if someone decides they want to play with their drone and it drops the hammer unexpectedly? So I'm going to go with a manual release until I work out something else. So, Jeff Skews, how are you doing, Jeff Skews? Says you talking rotators like wreckers. Yes, that's that was what we were talking about is rotators like the wreckers. And he says rotator side pull a lot not allowed in cranes. That's also a fact. James Bergeron, making more paracord bracelets. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to dog on the rotator operators for using them as a crane. I mean, they're trying to pay for their machine no different than anybody else would. They just have to be careful in doing it. Barry Simmons says he watched a lot of Ron Pratt, and I'm impressed. But with respect to rotator operators, they should really be familiar with their chart and keep them out of trouble. And Ron Pratt is a great guy with a great channel. And I've actually commented some on some of Ron Pratt's videos, and he is very open to suggestion, and he is very easy to talk to. I mean, we private message each other occasionally, and so yeah, he's a great guy. Do I think he needs more rigging training? I don't know. I mean, he's doing what he can with what he's got, and that's a lot of what we do every day. One thing I will tell you about Ron is he is very methodical, and same with Plaza Towing. Those guys, they just got that new rotator, and they've been picking stuff with it, and they've been very methodical with the way they've been approaching it. They're, taking it little bits at a time and being very safe with it. And, I would work next to either of those people any day. Plaza Towing or Ron Pratt, I would have no issues setting my crane up next to them and making picks with them. John 69 says you can run a dedicated wire as electrical release. I could do that. I hadn't thought of that. Ross 26 260 21. Hope you have cable seating roller on your winch. Or dropping 1,500 pounds can get expensive quick. And I'm going to offset that too with a heavy block. So that will definitely help. If cable's not perpendicular, the ground chart doesn't apply. This is also true. Well, it does and it doesn't. They've got two cables. Actually, Ron told me the other day they've got 5 winches on his rotator, and they can drop 2 out the end of the boom like so. So even though their rope isn't perpendicular to the ground, sometimes when they've got both winches hooked up to a piece, they're still loading the boom with X amount of weight. So at that point, their chart would apply. Their line pull would be a little different, but their chart would apply in that situation. Let's see. I'm trying to keep caught up here. Wayne Thorpe says, speaking of rotator operators, see where Jamie from Highway to Hell started a YouTube channel this week. Always liked that show, and they sure got themselves into some sketchy lifts. Christy Bow, how are you doing? Randy says, peace, call me about new YouTube policies. Okay. What's the new YouTube policy? I'll call you, Randy. I'll call you in a little bit. Mike Manfred says Ron also 2 parts his line most of the time. And that's one thing that I mentioned to Trent over there at Plaza is sometimes they might want to throw 2 parts in not necessarily for capacity, but for precision. I sometimes part the crane up, not because I need the extra capacity, but I need the winch to be very precise. So adding parts of line slows your winch down. It allows you to move a lot more with a lot more precision. But yeah, to answer your guys' questions as far as like Ron Pratt and Plaza Towing, those guys, they've got their stuff together, and I would have no problem working with them. Shooters up and says, "Yes, sir, G4, I might be in trouble." Christy Bow, that's how I'm getting over a cold, Chris, but we're getting there. And the thing also with wrecker operators, rotators, wreckers, any of them, those guys have limited resources to use. They've got to use what they've got. And, when people call a crane, it's because they need to get a job done to do whatever. There may be other ways to get that particular job done, but a crane is the fastest, most efficient way to do it. When someone calls a wrecker, that's their last resort. You don't call a big expensive wrecker in because you can do it another way. Now, some of the picks, they could have a crane come in and do that stuff, but typically wreckers are the last resort, so they've got to use what they've got on hand. Let's see. Wayne Tharp asked, where does Ron operate out of? He is out of southeast Missouri. He's a little ways south of St. Louis. There you go, Barry Hanson, Scott City, Missouri. Well, I have been going for almost an hour. I'm going to try to get a regular live stream in this Sunday. So we'll figure on 6 o'clock. We'll do 6 to 8, or, if it runs over a little ways, it runs over a little ways. But hopefully I have some more work on the hammer done by then. I can give you guys an update on that. Rambozo Clown, that's a fact. Just follow the power lines. You'll find Ron working under them. But I am probably going to log off. Oh, Ross 2621. I'm going to answer that question for you real quick. It says, how do you like the swaged cable ends on the Tadano cranes? Can you re-swage them in-house if it becomes damaged? I like them because it makes parting up and knocking parts of line out really fast. You don't have to break a becket down. A lot of the cranes, even if you have a quick reeve block, sometimes the becket is big enough that it won't fit between the shivs and the tip of the boom. So I like the button on the end. There is a kit, I think Crosby makes a kit that you can replace the button on the end in the field. But typically, if you have to cut the end of the rope off for some reason, you generally send it out and have a new button put on the end or order new rope. Now, if you've got a person that's fairly reckless with their cable or their rope and they get it up against stuff a lot, or they don't treat it like a newborn baby. I treat that rope on that Tadano like a newborn baby. If they don't take care of it, then a button is very expensive. It would be very expensive to have. At that point, a regular becket would be the way to go. But I take care of the old crane rope because that's the only thing that attaches me to the load. So Anyway, D McDonald says next lift sounds interesting. I hope they let you record. I'll see what I can do. The machine we're picking is very proprietary. It makes some very proprietary stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. If nothing else, maybe I can get some pictures of the setup and stitch together a little slideshow or something. So anyway, with that, I'm gonna give my throat a rest and go probably take some cold medicine and try to get rid of some of the stuffiness. But I appreciate everybody. I will try to get some stuff edited and uploaded this week, and we'll do a live stream on Sunday. I hope everybody has a fantastic week and try to stay away from the flu. It's a nasty one this year. So anyway, you guys make this channel what it is, and I appreciate all of you. So with that, To the Top Crane is out.